All right. Well, I'm busy prepping this motor to go in a car. I have an 04 srt4 that I will be installing this in. I just pulled this out of the PT Cruiser. We had good compression. We did have a bolt broke off in here. That's going to be coming off. I'm going to remove our oil line because we're not using that. I'm going to get this whole block cleaned out. It actually looks pretty good. But I'm kind of, the whole reason why I'm doing this is I'm doing a before and I'm going to do an after, and you guys are going to see this along the process. Timing belt, we're going to pull all this off and get it cleaned down. Hopefully we can get in here and see this. A little bit right down through here. Nothing bad. No leaks around our rear main. I mean, the oil pan actually looks pretty good. It does have some coolant laying down here. We pulled the valve cover off. I mean, the only thing I could say is it's not new, and it looks like it should have had the oil changed a little bit more, but other than that, looks pretty good down in here. It did have a new set of plugs. The intake ports look good. Exhaust ports look good. The oil that was in it was changed. It was a couple thousand miles before it was due. We do have the original water pump on here, but we have a whole new timing set that we're going to be installing on here also. So I'm going to finish getting this thing tore down and get these parts cleaned up so that we can get this thing reassembled and ready to go in the car. The block was requested to be painted Hemi orange, so that's what we're going to do. All right, see just how freaking dirty this thing is. With some goo down across the bottom. Alright, got some leaked up here. I don't know if that was valve cover or if it was just out of the breather tube and eventually just collected there. Down here across the bottom, not too bad. Some here. I'm gonna do what I can to get this stuff here cleaned up. So, what I use for this is just your normal, it says Windex, but this is your normal WD-40. I buy this by the gallon. I've showed this many a times before. So let's just spray some here. Okay. Plastic bristle brush. Well, this is fine. I always put cardboard down here to catch anything. So this is just the start, okay? That's the first time hitting this. So what I'll do is I'll keep hitting on this, but I just wanted to do that to show it. And then I'll take some brake clean when I'm completely finished and I will rinse everything. But this, I like to spray some on. That way it gets it broke up some. It'll absorb into this thick goo. Even up into here. This is not going to hurt anything on this motor except for remove everything that we want. Now when I'm done with this, I will be lifting this up and pulling the pan off separately, but I do want to get the block cleaned up first because you don't want to put a clean pan on a dirty block and then run dirt down over it. So this is what we do. Like I said, I just use this. You can get in here if you want with something and scrape at it. I did kind of try to take some of that. You can see the big piles there. That's how they got there. I got a wide one and a thin one. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up. We'll show you what the finished product looks like. All right, so pulled the pan off. Everything's getting pretty clean. We got most of the grease and the dirt off. Rinsed it down twice. Now, I popped the pan and it fell and splashed that way because we did have some in there. But there is nothing in here that looks bad at all in this oil pan or in the bottom, up in the pickup. Everything, I mean, everything looks nice. Here's our old pan gasket. Little Chrysler symbol right there. Original. Oil cooler. We're going to get all this stuff cleaned up. Clean up the bottom of this and get a nice clean pan put on. I mean, when we pulled this out, this was pretty freaking stripped. So it's just kind of hand tight back in there so we didn't drip any oil. It was drained, so there was a little bit in here. Not, I mean, it had a little bit in the bottom of the pan. I didn't pour this into anything clean, but I just kind of got the major off. So if there was anything in there, if you've done this, you would see that stuff. A little bit of solid there. No metal. No shiny stuff. It's exactly what we want to see. Alright. Check that pan out. That is clean. I wish I would have had some black silicone, but I'm out of it at the moment. But we got that thing is hooked up right there. So we're getting ready to set this thing down. I think everything came out pretty good. I might try picking at some of this. You know, some yet. These brackets are going to get pulled off, and like I said, I'm going to tape everything off the best I can, and then we'll get this thing painted orange here tomorrow. Okay, so making some headway. Got everything pretty orange. It's going to take some time to dry because it's cold. Not too bad. I'll have to clean this side up. Here's everything we have. Tensioner, idler, new cam seals, new front, blue racing belt, water pump, brand new water pump. All my bolts are here. Timing covers are there. Yeah, so we're gonna get all this stuff installed. I will have to break out the anaerobic sealer for the cam caps. We'll do them. The rear main looked good, but the front on this one looked like it was leaking. So I'm gonna pull it off and replace that seal and get the pump in. So that's next on the list, is getting that stuff done. The pan cleaned up really well. I've already installed a new oil filter. I'm going to get these brass fittings right here cleaned up and resealed. I kind of taped them off a little bit, but I was just trying to get the paint on so I could get a quick coat, because, well, small building, bad ventilation. I'm letting this thing sit. So just shut off the heater. We've got a coat of paint on this. I freshed everything out, and now, well, it's kind of warm in here, so hopefully that stuff dries up pretty good. Alright, so I've already got the cam seals done. I've got everything cleaned up here to put our water pump on. Let's take a look at getting this crank dampener off. Now, if you're working on one of these, the threads in here are the same as the ones that hold down your coil. You're going to need a power steering puller, and you'll have to go and get longer bolts at your local hardware store. Now, I'm just holding this like this and just pulling this off because they're press fit. These crank gears are no longer available. One, and the metal that they're made out of is pretty weak. So now that we have it removed, we can actually clean this thing up, get it ready for reinstallation. One, and we can replace our front main. This is always a fun job, especially when in the car. $90,000 miles. It looked like it was leaking. Looks like it's out down here on the bottom more than the top. Alright. I'm going to get that seal out. I'm going to get this stuff cleaned up. And we'll get the next thing on. So the seal kind of goes in super easy. Is this right? I don't know. It works.
Started throwing grease. You can see I put tape on it. It actually did help quite a bit, but it was still putting grease past the tape because actually grease doesn't.
Look, see a little groove? It's in the crank. You want just on the other side of that groove. Okay?
Without the, well, I mean, it was working perfectly fine with the drive shaft in until I hit that bump. It was weird, and I just don't understand what the correlation between it hitting the bump has to do with the popping. Maybe it has something to do with how the transfer case reacts because of wheel speed, and that starts to lock up. And I've been driving it. I started reading that you're not supposed to drive them with a taser, so it's rear-wheel drive only because it has a negative effect on the transfer case and it actually makes them go bad. But I've always, that is, it smells like burnt herring fluid. So all the touches in this thing is smoke for sure. That is very disappointing because young with the swap transfer cases, it should happen, but that's a $2,000 mistake.
Alright, so as joyous fun as this was, we went over everything. Everything's nicely cleaned up, all resealed. Lines are all in correctly. Swapped over the oil sending unit. The turbo's installed. Manifold with new gasket. 3-inch MPX O2 housing. I even installed the lower brackets on the motor. So right now, this motor's ready to go in. And if you want to see the rest of this, it's going to be in the other video.